Good morning. Good morning. This is Spirit Journey, and today is Friday, November 8th, and it's about 5:57 a.m. in the morning. I feel a little sad about things. I feel like what is going on in this world. This is just going to be just about my emotions. I know I'm not alone, and I know that many of you are experiencing things. I see that I'm a very sensitive individual, very sensitive. You ever ask yourself why you feel the way you do, why you're treated the way you are treated? You're taught to be respectful, but you're not receiving respect from others. You do what's expected out of you, but it's not reciprocated. You ever feel despised for no real reason? You ever feel that people are jealous of you, even though you may have less than what they have? You ever feel hated by the people that you actually love? Are you a woman who's been through things, violations, and so you've been sensitive to women's needs? But somehow, the people who you love and feel protective over misread you. And they may despise you, mistreat you, instigate fights, get you fired. Yet all along, you feel like, isn't it about us in protecting us? Aren't you in tune with the things that are happening upon women? Are you a so-called minority? Are you a black woman and care about what happens to other black people? But again, you're despised by many of them. Jealousies. They don't want to befriend you, but they know that you're reliable, that if you say you're going to do something, you do it. So they know that they can ask you things and you'll tell them the truth. And if they ask for help, that you will help them. So why am I despised? Why? What's happening in this upside down pyramid system? I'm lying here in bed right now. It's dark outside still. And I'm hearing so many things in the news. A couple of days ago, I learned of a massacre against a family, a Mormon family at that. They were U.S. citizens, or they have dual citizenship. But either way, they're there in Mexico, this part of town in Mexico, and they're on their way to a wedding. I think there might have been 3 vehicles, big vehicles. And you have what's called the cartel, the drug cartel, or a particular drug cartel in Mexico. And they were ambushed, this Mormon family. They were mostly little children and the mothers of those children. And they were shot and burned to death in their vehicle. And I thought how horrific that is. Now, whether this particular family, whether they're involved in the drug cartel in Mexico or not, these are little children and the mothers, and they weren't doing anything illicit at the time, and to be just gunned down and then incinerated. There were videos I saw after that about the violence of these particular cartel in Mexico. I mean, they're not just against just Americans. They kill themselves with such ferocity, such intensity, and they actually want you to see the bodies and the cruelties that they do to themselves, those who are involved in the drug wars, as they call it. Horrific. Then I start to ask myself, what are these drug cartels selling? What are they selling? Marijuana, cocaine, plants. And that when abused can seriously cause addiction, and it causes many deaths. And I just started sitting here and just asked myself, why is there such a violence attached to this occupation? You don't need marijuana or cocaine to live. You don't need it. But yet it's highly addictive, and you become dependent on it when abused. I don't understand how this phenomena of what they call the drug cartel. Now, there's supposed to be like, it's highly illegal to manufacture, to cultivate these products. And you get serious prison time for dealing in this, a plant. An innocent plant, but the system created these laws and rules for a plant that's been here before humankind. A plant. Yet you have a market that developed. I don't know when all this came about, this market, but it's not illegal. And you have those who are involved in its cultivation want to protect it. And then they acquire arms, powerful arms, to keep it so they could kill their competitors. Why such a competitiveness? Well, because it brings in so much money. Question: Why such a need for so much money? Why do you need that kind of money? Why get involved in something like this that causes so much social ills? It will eventually come knocking on your door. I remember seeing a movie like this before about drugs. And this guy that was in government. And then in the movie, the guy's own daughter gets addicted and does anything for the drugs, if you know what I mean. How does the human mind get to this level of killing your fellow human being so that you could have a business selling drugs to such a ferocity? You have people in that country who don't have enough food, and they're smaller in size because of poor nutrition. Well, you don't have people fighting to produce their own food in that country. You have hungry people in America. And you don't have people killing to produce quality food for you. It's turning into such a distortion that they're attacking their own food source. These mega food producers or farmers, they're putting chemicals in the food, GMOs, pesticides, and all these things cause bodily harm over time. And they continue to do this crazy act. They're poisoning themselves. Are they getting their food from another source? Where are these producers of the GMOs? Where do they get their food from? Do they have their own private stash? How come you don't hear of people, food cartels, producing healthy food? I want healthy food, but that's not happening. But you do have people who produce these GMOs and pesticides. It's like a monopoly, though. And they're targeting you, the customer. They're so powerful that they're able to buy power by donating money to congressmen and women, senators, so they can get special laws passed to protect them. See that? They're real sophisticated, and they're not using guns to persuade. But it seems like in the rich countries like the US, they use money and pay off the people in government. I also started thinking this morning about how insane it all is. I saw over the media some years ago, not too far along, an elderly man real frail looking. And he lived in the big city. And I guess his helpers prepared food to feed the hungry that are living on the street. His mistake was he didn't cook the food in a legal kitchen. So guess what happened? The police came and they warned him, you cannot give away this food. And he insisted. The guy looked so frail, real old looking fellow. Well, the police confiscated the food and then arrested him, put him in handcuffs. I started crying earlier today upon remembering that. So you have police, again, they're just doing their job, and they're being sent to an elderly person who wants to feed the hungry, who need help. No one's really helping them. So he thought, as a private citizen, to just be a positive light. And instead, darkness was shined upon him, and they destroyed his activities to be a light, to be a help to humanity. But yet with these drug cartels, they all know where these people are. Those who come to the U.S. or just in the U.S. who live here, who are dealing in mischief, causing so much social ills, and they are left alone. You have illegals who are just standing on the corner, doing what they're doing, and everybody knows what's happening, but yet someone to prepare food, healthy food, and are arrested. Be it those people on the street corner, illegals, and they are untouched. So I started to cry a moment ago. This is a backwards environment. It's going haywire. That what should be isn't. The perversion of society. That some police, they're being paid, but they're not being paid to do righteousness. If they can turn a blind eye as someone working here illegally, or someone dealing in drugs, and handle it. Or the people are being bullied in school and get rid of the bullies, but they're not doing that. It's a backward society. Why are all these things happening? And how could we stop it? So this is Spirit Journey, sharing you what's on my mind and how we can wake up. Oh, what I almost forgot to say, the conclusion that could possibly be answer the whys of all this. It is possibly what they call the Archons. The Archons are beings. They don't have physical bodies. It's made mention in occultic literature, the Apocrypha Bible, and they discuss about beings. I think they supposed to be originally from the Orion's Belt star system. I was also listening to this YouTuber, this guy, and he shared his experience that happened at a mountaintop. And this incident that happened to him when he came to the scene of an accident of a young boy who just went berserk. And the young boy deliberately runs into a pane of glass to kill himself so the glass would cut him and that he'll bleed to death. And this man had walked in on it, who's in the area. He saw this happening and he came to rescue. And then a phenomena happened to him, and he saw something that he wasn't supposed to see. He saw in the spiritual realm these beings of evil that it was actually attacking the boy and making him do what he was doing. So what I'm getting at is that this Archon, or the Anu, short for Anunnaki, that according to this YouTuber, that they're all the same thing. Different names, but they're the same entity. And that they have the ability to affect your psyche, to manipulate you with thoughts, things that you hear in your mind, inner voices that you think is just you talking to yourself in your head, negative things, horrible things, that you're worthless, that you're no good, feelings of jealousy or anger and hatred. And this other YouTuber who is a hypnotist, this lady in Ireland, she's originally from Germany, and she mentioned the same thing. And I saw both videos within 24 hours of each other, coincidentally. I think this is what's happening. When nothing makes sense, something makes sense. That maybe we're being affected in our minds to cause us to do violence, severe violence, killings, getting people addicted to drugs. So it seems like that they feed off of this negativity, and that's their food. When you do drugs, it affects you, and these creatures attach to you and feed off of your energy. It feeds off of bloodbaths when there's a shooting, killings, and when blood is spilled. These entities come and absorb the energy of that bath. Why is there so many wars all over? For senseless reasons. Why do things that actually will hurt you? Drugs kill. And they put an incentive behind it. Let's make it illegal. So it's to entice you more. It's like when you say no, that creates a resistance and an attraction for it. It's like priming the pump. You prime it, and then boom, it gets a strong hold, and it could actually start pumping out the water. It's a generator. When you prime the pump, it's almost like a generator. It's storing the energy, an intense amount of energy in a small region, and then there's the release. These Archons, want your release. So it creates wars. It creates jealousies. See, we're biochemical. So it affects your mind, what you think, and what you think your body responds to. You're watching movies. You're watching a love scene. You're watching violence. You notice movies is either violence or sex. Both of them feed the energy of these archons or of this Anu. These beings, non-physical beings, that sap your energy, that somehow got into our three-dimensional world, and they serve almost like a virus to us. And it attached itself and influencing families, such as the drug cartels that you find around the world, doing the deed of those creatures and hurting humanity. This is the only logic that you can really say what is behind all this. Yeah. That's why all these laws are created. These laws are created not to stop them, but to, again, prime the pump, to store that energy, and then the release, the feeding frenzy like a shark when it smells the scent of blood. That is what's happening. They are creating the problem of havoc. So when you see these things happening around you and you start to cry, you start to feel, hey, what's going on? Well, it's what's happening behind the scenes. And that's what's happening possibly. That these archons, these beings, are controlling. And you know, in the movie industry, there is a movie industry, the company that makes movies, one of them is called Orion. I kid you not. What does the movie industry do? They create movies and they project that movie on what is called the silver screen. What is silver? Silver is the highest conductor of electricity. It absorbs, and it's absorbing your energy when you go to the movie theater and watching a movie, whether it's a sex movie or one of those gun-slinging movies. They're both the same. They're sapping your energy. And that's why Hollywood is so popular, because they're priming the pump. And what is priming the pump in the Hollywood industry? Money. The promise of money. The promise of making millions of dollars of money in a short period of time. That is the incentive, and then they have you deliver your energy. And they are rewarding those people of Hollywood. And also, look at the background of those people of Hollywood who run the studios. And you're going to see some parallelism, some commonality that they all have. You do your research, and you're going to see who's running Hollywood. You're going to see who runs a lot of things, but they're all serving the same entity. This, folks, is food for thought. I thank you guys for listening. And those of you who like my content, you may wish to donate to my PayPal Me account. To do so, just go to my YouTube channel called Spirit Journey. Go to the banner, and on the right side of the banner, you'll see a PayPal Me link. Just click on the link and follow the prompts. Any amount would be appreciated. I thank you in advance for your precious gift to me. So I thank you ahead of time, and feel free to share this video with friends and family members. And you can comment below and give me the thumbs up. Take care, guys, and enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Bye-bye.